lot can happen in 10 minutes. It rarely does.
When I got married,
I thought you weren't going to mention that again.
I was just...
Well, don't.
I'm sorry.
More.
There have been good times. There have. I mean, we've been happy.
When?
You know, even you must grudgingly admit we've been happy sometimes.
I told you before, I'm too intelligent to be happy.
I remember you telling me once when we were trying to get some sleep in a ditch in Belgium that you've never been so happy in your life.
Kindly spare us another bout of your lying and utterly revolting nostalgia.
Why do you take such pleasure in being unhappy?
I assure you, I get no more pleasure from pain than I do from pleasure.
You've become perversely addicted to pessimism.
More.
Get it yourself.
You're getting a bit assertive in your old age.
It's still raining. You're right about old age. I'm going to be 30 my next birthday. 30. It's horrible.
Disgusting.
And you're getting on. Nearly 19.
I begin to despair.
Why?
When I was young and golden and infallible, I saw the future with some clarity. I saw the failings of my predecessors, and so I thought how they could be avoided. I knew it would be difficult, but I thought that all I needed was experience, and I could turn myself into the Philosopher's Stone and create new colors and new flowers, new languages, and a new God. Everything to gold. Thou shalt, I said to myself, adopting the appropriate apocalyptic style, be reviled and persecuted as any prophet. But at the last, thou shalt prevail. But before long, I realized it was impossible to be a doubting prophet. If you're a prophet, you may be optimistic or pessimistic as the fancy takes you, but you may never be anything less than certain. And I found I had tormented myself. It poked at my mind and thrilled to discover something that people do not believe, or don't wish to believe, or would be foolish to believe. In the lyricism of self-pity, I turned to the mirror and said, Lord, what shall I do? There is no love in the world. No hope. And I can do nothing about it. God, I can do no more than you have done, and I am in hell! Why? Not that I haven't said all this before. I have. Clearly, a new code is called for. And in these last few weeks, when you may have been thinking I've just been lying here in a state of paralyzed sloth, you've actually been quite right. But bubbling beneath the surface and rising slowly through the layers of the difference has been a new system. Harden up. Reject romanticism. Abandon rhetoric. Get it right. I've got it right. And I've seen where my attempt to conquer the world has led me.
Where?
Here. My search for universal experience has led me here to live an idle, pointless life of poverty as the minion
yourself to say something like that?
Easy. It's the truth. You're here living like this because you have to be. It's your life. Drinking, sex, and a kind of complacent melancholy. Enough money to soak yourself oblivious every night. That's your limit. But I'm here because I choose to be.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Why exactly?
You mean why?
Why exactly did you choose to come back to London with me? What was the intellectual basis of your choice?
This is a question I repeatedly ask myself.
No doubt you regarded it as another stage in your private odyssey. Only by plunging ever deeper, if I may mix my myths, will you attain the right to graze on Parnassus.
Your attack is unusually coherent this morning.
My theory is different from yours.
Mm.
My theory is that you are like Musette.
What?
Rather a provocative comparison, don't you think, in view of our continual attacks on the wretched man?
Explain it.
Well, I simply mean that, like Musette, or one of Musette's heroes, you tried on the cloak of vice, and now it's stuck to your skin. You came back here with me because you wanted to. You needed to.
Well now, that is quite original for you. Even though you've made your customary mistake.
What's that?
Getting carried away by an idea because it's aesthetically plausible rather than actually true.
Oh, there are less subtle reasons for your putting up with me.
Such as?
Such as the fact that I support you.
Your mind is almost as ugly as your body. Where are you going?
To the kitchen, it's lunchtime.
You look like such a cunt. Where are you going? Where are you going?
This is the scenes between Berlin and Rimbaud are the center of this particular play. The other scenes are not. I don't think. The play never really, well, it did. It was made into a film, you know, and it did play off Broadway after it played on the it was a young man's play. He hadn't quite gotten it together when he wrote it. It was like his third effort. And I saw it when it was originally done at the World Court in 1968 or 9, in that period. And I remember it well, and I loved it, and I wanted to do it in New York, actually. We had the option of doing something we really, but it didn't work out. And I wanted John Grillo, the playwright, and the actor played Berlin. And it was Victor, what's his name? Brilliant actor, played, it was very interesting to watch the two of you do it because I would have cast it the other way, in an obvious way. Not that And I think it was good that you actually did it this way.
Right.
But in terms of quality, I actually would have cast it the other way. I don't know if you know, just in terms of what if I were doing. Berlin, it's a love scene. It's a love scene. It's hard to believe, but it's a love scene. And I thought you played, by the end of the scene, you got that. You know, particularly at the end when he left. Question is, why is he staying? Why is the guy staying? You hear that? I mean, he's getting the shaft. Once, twice, maybe, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. What makes him stay? Well, he's in love with him. Obviously. He can't leave his wife. He doesn't want to leave his wife. But he doesn't love his wife like he loves Rambo. So he's kind of fucked. And it's an incredibly complex thing, you know, and he just hangs in there. So the way to play that is very, you know, you have to keep taking it on the chin and the balls and everything else. How do you do that? How did you work on this?
I mean, we're not that far in the rehearsal process of it. I'm still.
Well, now that you've done it, how would you think you would play it? How would you do? How would you react off of what you're getting?
Well, I think he's kind of addicted to.
Yeah.
He's addicted to his spirit and body. Even no matter how painful it gets, it's just needing it.
Yeah, and in a curious way, there's a self-hatred, maybe. He knows, I mean, he hates that part of himself that she's talking about. I mean, John Grillo, I remember, you know, he was just a fat little guy. Actually, not fat, but you know what I mean? He was kind of middle-aged looking.
Mm-hmm.
He had that punchy look, and a beard, whatever. Victor was slim, and, you know, they get kind of beautiful in a dangerous way. And I think he's addicted to being treated like that by him. It's kind of like, what do you call it, sadomasochistic.
Yeah.
The more she does it, the more he loves feeling the pain of that. He hates it, but it brings out what he feels about himself, you know? And he's dealing with that. How he feels about himself when she says that, or he says that. Whatever. Could be a she, but, you know. So, I mean, otherwise I'm wondering, why is he staying? Why would anyone stay? You know? He has to find the obsession in loving what she, you know, in hating and loving it at the same time. The wit, the brilliance of what he does. The way he says it too, there's got to be some brilliance in it in some way, other than just smut, you know. And he is brilliant. He is brilliant. But then he is too. Maybe not. He was no slouch. They were both top poets in their period, in the world of poetry. This was not a subpar guy. You know? So it's not like he's chopped liver. At least I don't think he was. I think he was pretty highly regarded, Boleyn, but maybe not as much as Rimbaud, but that's subjective, I think. But they were tops. They were tops. And they traveled all over together. And so that was what I was thinking in the way you pursue the role. If you're playing a role like this, and there are lots of them, where one character's hanging in and you wonder why. Well, it's more than likely something to that effect, that the character is kind of self-hating. He feels the same in some way, and is taking it because of that. And realizes there's truth in it. And then finally, he can't take it anymore. It's almost like he's asking for it. he's almost asking for her to, you know, so he doesn't have to do it himself. You know what I mean? It's
He's also more indulgent in that he's 18.
that she's 18.
Well, it's like a 30-year-old man dealing with a teenager in a way too.
Right, and he hates himself for that too.
I think part of the attraction though is that he's so open now.
Yeah,
That you're so closeted.
yeah.
Were you
That's
playing
right.
Rambo? I don't know the play. Were you playing Rambo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, okay.
You know, it's Rambo.
Yeah, well, that was a masochistic relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
So you have to find the joy in it. The joy in the pain. If that makes any sense. Yeah, finding the joy in getting spanked. Like somebody who really, tell me more, and yet, and I think you know that that's what he wants. And that's the way you'll keep him. It's interesting that when he leaves, it upset you. So you're gonna keep him by giving him what he wants, which is, I'm gonna keep shitting all over your bourgeois bullshit, because you hate it too, and you represent it, and you are one of them, and I'm gonna, and so you're enjoying that. And that is what you're doing more throughout the whole piece. I would, in those speeches, I would look for places where you really, in those speeches, can really connect with him specifically. I mean, he says, I'm gonna be 30. Disgusting. Rather than disgusting, it's disgusting. Like it goes right through.
Right, I feel like I do need to
Vicious.
find more of the knife.
Oh, it's a knife, but
Yeah. More of
it's really disgusting. It's not just disgusting, it's really disgusting.
It's also
So,
both. I mean, both men felt a profound sense of like shame about the relationship. Which I think is something else that.
I'm sorry, both men?
Both men. Well, they were like considered like sexual radicals in some way, but in a sense that very much men of the 19th century and having a homosexual affair, like both related to Rambo, sort of like were obsessed with it and doing it, but like caught in the sense of it being a shameful.
My recollection, and maybe I'm wrong, is that only one of them was that way. That was Roulette.
Rambo was that way too.
Not as much.
No, he wrote about the shame of being with
Okay. But I always felt.
and the sex they had. He wrote that.
Yeah, I guess. But in this play, I didn't feel, maybe I'm forgetting, but in the play, I didn't feel he talks much about that. If anything, he's the one who just flaunts it. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's scenes where that comes out that I forgot about. Maybe there are scenes. It'd be interesting if he had that part of it, but I don't remember the play being that.
In the play, not so much, in real
Yeah.
life, yeah.
He's like the rebel. He's fuck them all. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about any of this bourgeois stuff. We do what we want. And that's what I remember. But there might have been a place where there was, I don't know, but certainly the play was, they were really different people.
Yeah, but he's still carrying the stain of 19th century morality that he's playing as much as he's trying to. I think you guys, I didn't know the play, I mean, I don't know. I thought you had a wonderful relationship. You were playing what I thought was two downers. I said, boy, but they were really fighting to be in the same room. I mean, I don't think they liked each other, but they were fighting to be in the same room, or they were weary of each other.
Yeah.
They had reached a
Right,
low
at this point, it's kind of the,
Yeah, they
it's definitely
reached a
the
low
breaking
edge,
point for
but the
them.
thing was, I really felt, because you could play the emotion and be downers and play Borland. Both of you were fighting to talk to each other.
I would look for more fight, James.
Yeah.
In your character, rather than, I would challenge it more in the way you know, I would challenge it to see if you can get more out of that. Try a little bit of that in the beginning now. Yeah? Are you ready to shoot? You ready to shoot? No?
I've been shooting.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm ready to shoot.
I can't hear.
I'm ready.
Ready.